Let's face the reality, it's never been harder than ever before to live a healthy life. We are drowning in information but starving for true wisdom. We have people arguing about different diets and supplements and protocols, which leads to more confusion. In this video, I'm going to show you the wisdom that you've been starving for. I'm going to share with you the 7 healthy foods you may never eat again after watching this video. I'm going to make it very simple to understand, backed by logic and of course science. Let's start with the first food, and that's going to be fruit. I don't think everyone needs to avoid or limit fruit, but 93% of you should. Where'd I get that number from? That's the percentage of people who are unhealthy metabolically in the United States. You can see the Journal of American College of Cardiology put out this study a few years ago, showing that only 6.8% of adults have optimal cardiometabolic health. So if you're in that 93%, you're going to want to avoid fruit. Here are the 3 main reasons why fruit is not a good idea. Fruit contains a high amount of fructose. And I've interviewed Dr. David Perlmutter and Dr. Richard Johnson on my Metabolic Freedom podcast, all about the topic of fructose as it relates to increasing uric acid levels, weight gain, and metabolic disease. People with high uric acid levels have an increased risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. High levels of uric acid also lead to insulin resistance, and your body is retaining uric acid as a survival mechanism. Fruit is the #1 contributor to high levels of uric acid. As a matter of fact, I remember asking Dr. David Perlmutter, what are the top 5 things that we do that raise uric acid in the body? And he said, #1, fructose, #2, fructose, #3, fructose, #4, alcohol, and #5, high purine foods. So fructose is the problem here, especially in excess. Your body can't process more than 5 grams of fructose at a time. When you eat fruit, drink fruit juices and fruit smoothies, it's a concentrated amount of fructose, which raises your uric acid levels, and it creates a problem inside of the body. 90% of fructose is also metabolized by your liver. Over time, the liver becomes fatty, other organs become fatty, and it leads to a metabolic disaster. So for sure, we want to avoid fruit juice and smoothies because that is a high concentration of fructose. When it comes to actually eating the whole fruit, of course, that is better than juices and smoothies. But there are certain fruits, I'm going to list 5 of them, that have the lowest amount of fructose. And if you're going to do fruit, make sure it's these 5 and not the others. We have avocados, lemons and limes, raspberries, and strawberries. Those are lower fructose fruits. The second problem with fruits is that they have been hybridized to become more sweet. The fruit we have available to us today is very different than the fruit from 50 years ago. Due to advancements in agricultural processes, selective breeding, and genetic modifications, modern fruits have been bred for specific traits such as increased size, enhanced sweetness, longer shelf life, and resistance to pests and diseases. Also, the nutrient composition of fruit is very different than the nutrient composition of fruit from 50 years ago because of our depleted soils. A lot of fruits are sprayed with glyphosate, which is a pesticide and an herbicide, creating inflammation and increasing different risks of diseases out there. Third problem with fruit is that it's available year-round, and we're hardwired to eat food that is seasonally available to us. Having fruit available year-round creates a chemical mismatch in your body, disrupts our hormones, disrupts our metabolism, and we're just not designed to eat fruit in the winter. Nowadays, you could click on your phone and have fruit delivered to your door by an Uber Eats or DoorDash person within minutes, and that's just not the way that we're hardwired to function. So when it comes to fruit, eat it seasonally, eat it organic, and eat the lower fructose fruits. The second food here are what's called vegetable oils, also called seed oils. Other names for these oils and fats are called linoleic acid, omega-6 fats, and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Now, it's not that all omega-6 fats are bad for you, it's the ones that are processed, which unfortunately are about 95% of them. It's estimated that 80% of all of the food here in the United States has these processed inflammatory seed oils in them. The reason they're called polyunsaturated fats is because of the chemical structure. The chemical structure, when you look at it from a microscope, shows that these polyunsaturated fats contain many double bonds. That's where the word poly comes from. The more double bonds a fat contains, the more unstable and reactive it is to heat and pressure. So when these fats are processed, it turns into an unstable, rancid fat. It's put into a bottle, it's sold at your supermarket, and then you heat it up even more, creating more of a toxic effect inside of your body. This creates inflammation at the cellular level. Think of biting into an apple, and you bit into an apple, left it on the counter, came back 4 hours later, looked at where you bit, it starts to turn brown. This is called oxidation. It's exactly what is happening to your cells when you consume these vegetable oils. And check out this video to show you how disgusting the processing is of these oils. In this particular video I'm going to show you how canola oil is made. Check this out.
They pass between two steel rollers, which crush them into thin flakes. A conveyor then feeds the flakes into a screw press. It has a large revolving screw-shaped shaft enclosed within a slotted cage. As the shaft turns, its threads squeeze the flakes with high pressure, forcing out the oil, which then drains out through the slots.
Oh, it's
the
disgusting.
remainder is still trapped in the pressed flakes, now referred to as canola cake.
Ugh,
the cake exits the other end of the press and moves on to a second extraction. This one, a 70-minute wash with a solvent. This chemical extraction process removes all but a trace of oil. The factory then grinds the cake into protein-rich meal, which it sells as animal feed. First, they wash the oil for 20 minutes with sodium hydroxide. During this wash cycle, they spin the oil at high speed so that the centrifugal force separates the natural impurities, which the factory later sells to soap manufacturers. After this cleaning process, the canola oil is visibly clearer. However, it still contains natural waxes, which make it look cloudy. So the next step is to cool the oil to 5 degrees Celsius. This thickens those waxes so they can be filtered out.
Yuck.
The waxes don't go to waste either. The factory uses them to produce vegetable shortening. In the factory's lab, technicians recreate production on a small scale to ensure performance and quality. Meanwhile, back in the factory, after washing and filtering the oil, they bleach it to lighten the color, then use a steam injection heating process to remove the canola odor. The oil is now fully refined and ready for bottling.
Disgusting, isn't it? Show that to your friends. And then they put that in a bottle, canola oil, and unfortunately, the corrupt organization of the American Heart Association puts their stamp of approval on it as being heart healthy, when this is the opposite of heart healthy. This is going to cause heart disease and cancer faster than anything else. And I remember interviewing medical doctor, Dr. Kate Shanahan, who was the nutritionist for the Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant. She's written a great book called Deep Nutrition and has a new book coming out called Dark Calories. And I asked her a question about 3 scenarios of which scenario is worse, which scenario will cause disease faster, smoking cigarettes, eating processed sugar, or these vegetable oils. And check out her answer.
3 vices. I'm going to smoke cigarettes each day. Option 1. I'm going to eat sugar, high amounts of processed sugar each day. Option 2. Or I'm going to eat vegetable oils each day. Which option is worse?
Eating the vegetable oil each day. That was easy. You don't build your body out of parts that you inhale. With cigarette smoke, it's the toxicity begins and ends with the beginning and end of your cigarette. With vegetable oils, or say a French fry, there's toxins in the French fry, but then there's also unoxidized polyunsaturated fatty acids that are going to end up in your body fat. And that's where we get to a whole other layer of metabolic impacts that go beyond just the direct toxic effects and start to get into what we touched on earlier with, well, what does it mean when your body fat is full of stuff that your mitochondria can't use for energy? So that's why it's worse than cigarettes. And it's worse than sugar too, because, sugar is empty calories, but empty calories build body fat. Sugar turns into normal body fat that humans have carried around for a long time. What do I mean by that? What's normal body fat? I mean, the fatty acids are monounsaturated and saturated mostly. That is supposed to be what we have in our body fat. But when we eat PUFAs, they end up in our body fat as PUFAs. And so these days, instead of just like a 5% PUFA in our body fat, many people are walking around with 40%. And that's where they get into this other layer of metabolic problems that, has to do with diabetes and all these tragic, terrible diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's, and so on.
That is super interesting. I did not know that about sugar turning into saturated and monounsaturated fat. What about high fructose corn syrup? Does it also turn into that, or is that something different? Same thing.
I mean, table sugar and high fructose corn syrup are almost identical molecularly, because high fructose corn syrup is just higher fructose than regular. And so, but it's a combination of sucrose and fructose. just like table sugar is a combination of sucrose and fructose. So, and when you break it down, it's the same. Like once your body can't tell whether a molecule of fructose came from a banana or from high fructose corn syrup. It's identical. So it's really, when it comes with sugar, it's like the total amount, right? So I don't advocate, you can get all the sugar you want as long as it comes from fruit. No.
Yeah.
There you have it, coming from a brilliant medical doctor, Dr. 𝙎𝙬𝙎𝘎. The reason these fats are so inflammatory is because they stay in your body for a very long time. The estimated half-life of these fats, called linoleic acid, is 680 days. That means if you stopped eating them today, because I inspired you to do so on this lesson, 680 days later, about 2 years, half of them will still be in your body creating inflammation. It's like an old friend who showed up and asked you if they could stay the night, and they're still there 2 years later creating destruction in your home. It's like, kick your friend out, kick those oils out. So we want to remove them as soon as possible. One more point here before I give you a list of the oils. Dr. Martin Grutfeld estimates that the average 5-ounce serving of French fries contains enough aldehydes, which is a carcinogen, same thing you get from smoking cigarettes, that is the same, very similar, to smoking 25 tobacco cigarettes. Think about it. A large order of McDonald's fries contains about 20 to 25 fries. Essentially, each French fry is like smoking a cigarette. And I'll drop that study down below for you as well. So here are the 9 oils you want to eliminate immediately. Canola oil, called rapeseed oil in the UK, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice bran oil, grapeseed oil, and refined peanut oil. Instead, what you want to do is swap them for anti-inflammatory healing fats, such as saturated fats and monounsaturated fats. The best fats for cooking your food in at high temperature are the following animal fats: butter, ghee, beef tallow, duck fat, and lard from non-hydrogenated pastured pigs. The best oils for salad dressings and dips and low heat temperatures are going to be fruit-based oils, such as coconut oil, avocado oil, and extra virgin olive oil. The challenge is when you go to restaurants, and most restaurants are going to have these inflammatory oils. So what I do is I show them my seed oil allergy card, which lists the bad oils that I'm allergic to and the healthier swaps. It works like a charm. You just show this to your server and you don't take that hit, because remember, when you consume these fats, they stay in your body for years. You can download my free seed oil card and use it yourself at your restaurant by going to seedoilcard.com. The next food on my list is actually a supplement: fish oil. 83% of fish oil is rancid on the shelf before you even consume it. Let's say it's the 17% of companies who process fish oil the right way, high quality fish oil. Well, guess what? Fish oil needs to be in cool temperatures. Your human body is warm, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So when that fish oil enters your warm body temperature, it converts it into a rancid fat. And when it mixes with your stomach acid, it converts it even more to a rancid fat. It's no surprise that the countries that consume the most fish oil are the countries that have the highest rate of skin cancer, because that's where the fish oil ends up, in your epidermis. The sun hits your skin, oxidation, and cancer. Another issue is the amount of fish oil people take. They're taking 1, 2, 3, 4 grams a day, which is a super physiological overdose of fish oil. People are taking it because of the EPA and DHA, but according to the National Institutes of Health, the average male that is 6 foot tall and 200 pounds, so a pretty big guy, only needs about 7.2 milligrams of DHA each day. And don't believe me, the Cochrane collaboration put out a study a few years ago showing you that fish oil does not work. You can see the study here. New Cochrane health evidence challenges the belief that omega-3 supplements reduce the risk of heart disease, stroke, or death. Here's what the study said. The Cochrane researchers found that increasing long-chain omega-3 provides little, if any, benefit on most outcomes they looked at. They found high certainty evidence that long-chain omega-3 fats had little or no meaningful effect on the risk of death from any cause. They also found that taking more long-chain omega-3 fats, including EPA and DHA, primarily through supplements, probably makes little or no difference to risk of cardiovascular events, coronary heart deaths, coronary heart disease events, stroke, or heart irregularities. Taking fish oil did not reduce some blood fats, triglycerides, and HDL cholesterol. So you can see, fish oil doesn't work. There are no benefits, and I would argue it actually does more harm than good. One of the most common symptoms of taking too much fish oil is constant nosebleeds, by the way. So if you're taking fish oil and you get nosebleeds, That's a sign of your membrane becoming too fluid, and that's a problem. So what's the solution? Eat the fish. Look, I love fish oil when it's in the fish. And you want to follow the SMASH acronym when it comes to fish. These are healthier, fat-burning fish you want to consume. So the SMASH acronym is as such: sardines, mackerel, anchovies, salmon, and herring. All those would be much better than fish oil. The next healthy food to get rid of is oatmeal. Oatmeal is usually loaded with high fructose corn syrup, which is terrible for the liver, terrible for the body and your metabolism. And a lot of oatmeal and oats are sprayed with glyphosate, herbicides, and pesticides, which rip open the tight junctions in your gut, creating leaky gut and autoimmune diseases. If your goal is to lose stubborn fat, oatmeal will not support that goal, because oatmeal is a fat storage meal for weight gain, not a fat burning meal. Here are some additional problems with oatmeal. High glycemic index, meaning it'll spike glucose and insulin after eating it. And the longer that stays elevated, the more you are in a fat storage state. A lot of these instant oatmeals contain additives and added sugars, not good for your metabolism. Oatmeal contains phytic acid, which can inhibit the absorption of minerals and vitamins and actually pull minerals from your body, starving your mitochondria, not good. And when you eat a lot of oatmeal, you stay stuck burning sugar instead of fat. And if your goal is to lose weight, you want to burn fat instead of sugar. The next healthy food to get rid of are almonds. Almonds and almond flour contain a high amount of oxalates. Oxalates are tiny crystals found in other plants that poke holes inside of your intestinal lining. It leads to leaky gut, where food goes undigested into your bloodstream, creating an autoimmune response, and that weakens your immune system and can create autoimmune diseases in the future. I remember years ago, being in the keto space, I used to be a huge advocate of almonds and almond flour. Keto pizzas and keto bars all contain almond flour, and the oxalates were creating inflammation in my joints. The oxalates were so bad for me that I would continuously develop styes around my eyes, and that was my body's way of getting rid of the oxalates. As soon as I stopped eating almonds and almond flour, the joint pain disappeared, and I haven't gotten one stye in my eye. Another issue with almonds is that it has a high percentage of omega-6 to omega-3, and when you increase that ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, that promotes inflammation inside of your body. That's not good. Almonds also contain phytic acid, just like the oatmeal, which chelates, removes minerals and vitamins from your body. Healthier alternatives to almonds would be macadamia nuts, pili nuts, which are the highest fat, lowest carb nuts in the world, walnuts, and pecans. Next on the list is fiber in general. Look, I think fiber is overrated. Can some people benefit from fiber? Does research show that? Yes, but that is a minority, not the majority. Let me explain why. Most people, including you possibly watching or listening to this, have leaky gut. You have some sort of gut dysbiosis. And when you eat fiber, it shreds your gut even more. You're not going to be able to process it efficiently, and it'll create more problems inside of your body. High fiber intake can lead to digestive issues like gas, bloating, and constipation. Many of the clients I've worked with in the past that have had irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, have reported to me when they removed fiber, it gave them significant relief. Fiber can also contribute to inflammation, especially inflammation of the gut. The fermentation of certain fibers in the colon can produce gas and other byproducts that can irritate that gut lining, potentially leading to chronic inflammation and discomfort. Fiber can also bind to essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc, inhibiting their absorption. This can lead to nutrient deficiencies and essentially starving your mitochondria, leading to poor energy production and weight gain. I know fiber has been touted as being beneficial to the gut microbiome, but I can share a personal story with you. I recently did a 90-day experiment where I ate 0 carbs, 0 fiber. I did a carnivore diet. I had nothing but fat and protein, no carbs. But here's the cool thing that I did. I did a gut test, a stool test, to see what my gut looked like on day 1 and then on day 90 of 0 fiber. First of all, I felt incredible during those 90 days. I lost 16 pounds, dropped 6% body fat. You can see the photos on the screen here of what I achieved in those 90 days. But what was really interesting was the gut test results. You can see here on the screen, November was the first test, January was the second test. On day 90, that orange bar there, I developed 6 keystone bacteria on day 90 from removing fiber that was not there on day 1 when I was having fiber. And I developed 5 core species of bacteria on day 90 by removing fiber that was not there on day 1 when I was consuming fiber. So it's not what you think. Fiber is overrated. And if you're like many other people out there with leaky gut, then actually removing fiber will benefit your gut microbiome, inflammation, and health overall. And the 7th healthy food to get rid of is wheat bread and wheat products. Dr. William Davis wrote a great book called Wheat Belly, showing research on the dangers of wheat bread, especially as it pertains to what it does to your blood sugar levels. I had the honor of interviewing Dr. William Davis on my Metabolic Freedom podcast. He has shown in his book Wheat Belly that 2 slices of whole grain, heart-healthy wheat bread spikes your blood sugar levels as much as a Snickers bar or a 12-ounce can of soda. Yikes. One of the fastest ways to age yourself and pack on fat is to elevate your blood sugar levels. We could test our blood sugar levels by looking at a metric called hemoglobin A1C, which is the 3-month average of your blood sugar levels. It gives you an idea of your last 90 days of behavior as it pertains to your blood sugar levels. And this study showed that if your A1C was 7.5% or higher, every year it's at that level, you lose 100 days off your lifespan. And I did the math for you. If it stays elevated at this level for 15 years, that's a total of 4 years off your lifespan. That's how destructive high glucose levels are, and wheat will spike your blood glucose levels. It's not just the blood sugar spike from wheat that's an issue. Wheat is one of the most sprayed crops in the world with glyphosate, herbicides, and pesticides, which, as we already discussed, destroys your gut microbiome and increases risk of cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, diabetes, and I could go on and on. Your mitochondria are really important for health and fat loss, and essentially what happens when you eat wheat that has been sprayed with glyphosate, it is mitochondrial poison. It chelates minerals, and those minerals are needed for the mitochondria to produce energy. What does that mean for you? You become inflamed and you gain weight. Not good. Another issue with wheat, especially the wheat here in the United States, is that it has been hybridized to become more of something called a dwarf wheat. Our metabolism does not process this dwarf wheat efficiently, which impacts our metabolic health. Additionally, MIT researcher Stephanie Seneff has shown that when you consume food like wheat that has glyphosate, it pushes heavy metals like mercury and lead and aluminum deeper inside of your tissue in your brain. That's a disaster, my friends. So here's a list of the most common foods that contain wheat that you want to remove, and then I'm gonna give you healthier swaps. Breadcrumbs, bulgur, couscous, cereal, einkorn, farro, pasta, matzah, seitan, spelt, sprouted wheat, wheat protein, biscuits, crackers, waffles, pancakes, bread, scones, cookies, and kamut. The best alternatives to wheat are going to be the following: cassava flour, coconut flour, rice flour, and tapioca flour. Just a quick word of caution as well. Other foods high in glyphosate include corn, soy, and coffee. Just beware. If you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love a recent video I just released on the #1 thing in your diet stopping you from losing belly fat, and it's not carbs or sugar. And you're thinking, oh, I already know that's bad for me. Yeah, you might, but wait until I reveal the top 10 most popular products out there that are considered healthy and you might be consuming, but it's slowing down your weight loss and causing rapid inflammation and aging inside of your body.